going to share with you guys a personal success story on proof as to why you don't need to believe in your affirmations for them to work and for them to manifest. So, whether you've been following me or not for a while now, I have multiple businesses. I'm a UGC creator and a manifestation coach, and I have been working for myself since full time since 2020. I started my business in 2019. So before I started my business though, I had gotten into manifestation around 2017 and deeper into personal development. So I was working on myself a lot. I created a lot of results for myself, completely changed my life around, did a complete 360 from who I was then in the past to who I am now. And I'm always evolving as well, since I'm always learning and evolving and things like that. So, long story short, what I decided to do was get a coach, because during that time, I had realized that every mentor that I had looked up to, that I had learned from, all had mentors. They all had coaches. And before, I was really just investing in like all the free stuff, all the like cheaper stuff, the books, the little mini courses here and there. Then I decided, you know what, I want to actually start a business and go all in and actually do this thing, because I've learned a lot over the years with just my spiritual practices, learning manifestation, and working on myself. So I invested in my first spiritual business coach, and I literally went in blinded. Like, I had no clue what kind of business I wanted to start or anything like that. So she helped me figure that out though. And she was like, well, why don't you just become a coach? I mean, you've obviously learned all of these things. You've worked on yourself so much. You're literally the living, breathing example of what you've been doing the past couple of years with your spiritual practices. And I was like, oh yeah, duh, I could totally be a coach. So then I literally, shit you not, when I started working with her and I started learning just more about energetics, law of attraction at the time. I wasn't really as much into law of assumption yet like I am now, but I'll get to that in a moment. And so basically with her, I just learned like a really good solid manifestation routine to stick to. And literally every single day I was just telling myself, I'm traveling the world, I'm a digital nomad, my business is successful, I'm changing people's lives. And every single day I was affirming these things, I was visualizing it, I was seeing it in my mind. And literally, within 5.5 months of having no clue what business I would even start, I went full-time in my business. And then within 12, I started traveling all over the US, and I even lived in Mexico. And I was traveling by myself for the next 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, even during COVID, guys. So I literally did what people would think is impossible and made it possible in a very short time span. And even when the world was basically completely going through a whole evolution in and of itself. And I didn't add this before, but when I invested in this coach, guys, I invested $6,000 in this coach with money that I didn't have, and I had no clue where it was going to come from. But then I just ended up getting a credit card and getting approved. But the first time around, they didn't approve me, but then the second time around they did. And I was still able to manifest that card to invest in myself. And I had never invested that amount of money in anything, that large amount of money in anything before. But my highest self knew that the version of me who had what I wanted knew that I'm always going to be my best investment. And it obviously paid off. So that was literally through just me telling myself, guys, on a regular, consistent basis, I travel the world, I'm changing lives, my business is successful, I'm full-time in my business, I'm always traveling somewhere new. And if you want proof of that, just go to my Instagram. I have a bunch of highlights on my Instagram of all the different places that I traveled, and I documented literally everything for the last several years. And then when 2023 hit, mind you, my business had evolved. My business has evolved for years. In 2023, I was coaching a client at the time, and she mentioned that she does UGC. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What is that? And I learned about it, and I became so obsessed with it that I decided that I wanted to start an additional business, which was UGC, which is basically making authentic ads for brands, products, and services. And during 2022 to 2023, I went through this weird transformational period within myself of like, I had grown out of my business so much, but I just didn't know like what direction to go. that I felt a little bit lost during that time period. And I decided, like, before I even got into personal development, before I even like invested in that coach, I had always wanted to be an influencer because I was during 2017 to 2019, about before I invested in that coach, I was sharing a lot of my artwork, photography, modeling stuff. As you can tell, I'm very creative. Like, even there's a ton of my artwork here in my room and all over my home. If you've seen me on my lives, I've showed you guys my apartment, living room, things like that. And so when she had mentioned UGC, I was like, oh my God. It had sparked something within me that during that year, I just felt like wasn't there anymore in my business. So again, like I've said, my business has evolved. So I went all in on UGC as well. And through the years of just learning more about myself, still continuing with personal development, that's when I had also discovered Law of Assumption. And I also decided, like, I wanted to make manifesting a lot more simple and easy for me. Because through those years, manifesting was always like, I was always able to manifest, but it was very up and down, right? Highs and lows. And I was like, I don't want to experience that anymore. I want my life to continue to get better and better and better without the highs and lows. And from just deciding that, manifesting is going to be simple, I'm going to make it simple, that's when Law of Assumption had fell into my lap again. Because before, I knew about Law of Assumption, but I hadn't really dove deeper into it. I was more, I had more learned about Law of Attraction and manifestation through that lens. And I never really like resonated with it completely, because a lot of the Law of Attraction community is about energy and like feeling some type of way, right? Being able to feel happy on a regular basis. And I just never really resonated with that, because feelings are fleeting. And when I learned more about Law of Assumption, that's when I discovered robotic affirming. And after discovering robotic affirming, putting it into practice, my life started getting better and better and better. And manifesting also was able to get easier and easier and easier. And that's when I really pivoted back in last year, 2025 now, into teaching more Law of Assumption and making manifesting simple, because it gets to be simple. And ever since then, my business has done better than it ever has in my entire life in such a short amount of time, because I live and breathe this work. I live and breathe Law of Assumption, and it works, and it does get to be simple. And so bringing it back to the whole point of this video, like I said originally, guys, from the time I started my business up until now, a lot of the things that I was telling myself, I didn't believe. I didn't know that I was going to be able to quit my jobs within 5 months and then be full-time in my business. I didn't know that I was going to start traveling all over the US and live in Mexico after a year of starting my business. I didn't even know what I wanted my business to be. I didn't even know that I was going to discover UGC. I didn't even know that manifesting was going to get easier and easier and easier and more simpler. But I just kept telling myself those things, regardless of how I felt. Because again, it's repetition of the same thought that helps you not only start to think differently and see what you're telling yourself in your mind that will create images in your head that will naturally start to make you feel better, but because you keep telling yourself these things over and over and over again, you'll eventually experience it and manifest it. And because it keeps manifesting over and over and over again, it'll become a dominant assumption or a dominant belief. That's why I say, guys, if you don't believe in your affirmations right now, it's all good. It's still gonna work out. Continue to persist anyways. It's okay if there's doubts. It's okay if there's resistance. Those feelings of doubt and fear are fleeting anyways. Continue to persist and you will get what you want, because that's the only way that you can't get what you want is if you give up. So stop giving up on yourself and don't play yourself, and the universe won't play you.